Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This one I call it, How Fast Do You Stand Up? This happened to, or has to do with a conversation that I had with a friend of mine, where she's in this journey, and she's very conscious of it, but sometimes get frustrated because she feels like she's falling down sometimes. And she beat herself because of falling down. Well, you have to remember that as long as you believe you're a person, or you think, or you experience yourself as a person, there's going to be ups and downs, because that is the nature of duality. The world of duality is ups and downs. All sorts of thoughts comes in, and sometimes you identify and sometimes you don't. But what we have to remember is that it's not if you fall or not, you see, it's how fast do you stand up. What do I mean by that? A child, when he's learning to walk, he falls a lot. But then he finally learns how to walk, and now he walks normally, like an adult. That doesn't mean that throughout his life he's not going to fall. Right now, I'm going to ask you a question. You walk all the time, unless you are in extreme sports and all that stuff, but let's say as a normal, regular person, whatever. Do you remember the last time you fell? You might go, oh my God, when was the last time I fell? You see? So standing up is just, your walking is natural for you, no big deal. However, there's times that you may fail. But the difference is that when you fall, you stand up quicker. Well, in this journey, when the mind gets caught up with its thing, whatever the case may be, well, that's just what happens. It's not you to make it happen, it's just what happens. But the beauty of it all is that it's like a thermostat. You kind of know that, okay, the mind is identified, and then I can go back again and bring myself to essence. You see? That's why this is simple, this is easy. But don't try to make it as this is about being perfect. No, you're perfect as essence, but not as a human being. The human being is the imperfection. So it's impossible to make a perfect human being. The human being will have all the experiences of a human being, but a conscious human being, well, again, the human being is not the one conscious, because the human being is a projection. So technically speaking, that doesn't make any sense, but I'm trying to use words that we can relate to for now. So someone who seems to be conscious, the difference is that while he's having the human being experience, when these mind attacks will come, whatever the case may be, he can be poised because he knows how to stand up. All he needs to do is remember that nothing means anything, because has done the investigation and is not identified with the sense of identity. Someone who's unconscious, the mind will play with it, literally. And this video is about becoming conscious. But becoming conscious is not something that the person does. It's not for the person. We're pointing to what already is. I'm not asking you to do anything so in the future you become conscious. No. I'm just pointing to the obviousness of this moment, of life itself. That's why I don't tell you do this or do that in order to. No, I'm simply pointing to a fact. I'm pointing to what is practical. I'm pointing to what is right now. If you don't identify with any thoughts, they will be there, that's fine, let them be. If you don't identify with them, if you don't believe them, you cannot negate direct experience, which is just being. And that is always. Whether you negate it or not, it's always. But that cannot be ignored. Well, we're learning now, quote unquote, but again, I don't know what words to use. We're learning to live life from that space. Notice that all the topics that I talk about in this video is the same thing. It always points to this. It's just that we use different seeming, call it topics or subject matters, to see that, oh my God, I see how mind is trying to distract with this subject matter, and then we bring it back to the same thing, because in the end, it all points to the same thing. This reminds me of a line from A Course in Miracles that says, every problem, there's one problem, one solution, because we think that we have different problems. No, we only have one. The belief that we're a separate entity. Everything else are just simply different appearances to keep yourself distracted from the essence of what you are. When you're in bed, actually you don't have any problems, but when you believe in the dream, you think you have problems. And now the dream shows up in many different ways. Health problems, financial problems, relationship problems, worldly problems, you see. And now you think you have to solve each one separately, and you don't have to. All you have to do is open your eyes. Well, same thing here. If you try to fragment and compartmentalize the problems, you're missing the mark. You see? It's like, I'm going to use the word God. God, I have a problem. And God says, what's the problem? He says, well, I have relationship problems. And he says, okay, you think that the problem is you have a deal with relationship. No. The problem is that you are forgetting who you are, and your attention goes to part of the dream. But if you put your attention on me, I'll give you the peace that you're looking for. Just put your attention on me. And then you go, oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm at peace. And then career issue. God, I have a problem. What's the problem? I have a career issue. And God says, oh, you think that because the career issue in the world of appearances look different than the relationship problem, now you think that you need a special solution for that one. No. Put your attention on me. I'll give you the peace that you're looking for. And then you put the attention on God. Okay, that's true, yeah. Then a financial problem. And you, God, I have a problem. And God says, okay, what's the problem? You say I have a financial issue. Okay, you think that because in the world of appearances, the relationship or the work issue or the financial issue, they look different. You think that they need a different solution, you see. Put your attention on me. I'll give you the peace that you're seeking. Do you see? No matter what it looked like on the outside, the only problem is that you're putting the attention back in the world of meaning in the mind. See, the mind is the one that projects and gives meaning to the outside. So you're not actually looking at the outside, you're looking at the content of the mind, which is the one that defines the outside, the seeming outside. As a matter of fact, the mind is the reason why you believe in an outside. Because the mind is the one that told you that there's also an inside. You see? So now you see that everything's solved the same way. It's the same thing. These videos are not to how to handle your financials, how to handle your relationships, or how to handle your health issues, or how to handle anything. This is not about that. It's about pointing to the obvious that right now you are. If you just withdraw the attention from the mind and then just bring it back to presence, then you see how life unfolds, and you can trust that whatever needs to be done, if something needs to be done to deal with those particular issues, will happen organically. It's very simple, but again, it's not about solving the problems outside. It's about getting to know who you are. Otherwise, you're going to be lost. You're going to try to use spirituality to give more reality to the dream. You see? That's why I'm not interested in pursuing anything of the world or trying to see how can I make anything happen. I have no interest in that. Just resting what I am, in what I am. Rest in peace, you see. And as I rest in that, I see how life unfolds. Sometimes life has me do something, either create music or go to exercise or sit, quiet, or watch television. In fact, I don't have television, but I mean YouTube or something. Watch something. Or a friend call me and I find myself talking on the phone. Sometimes the body can feel fine and sometimes may not feel fine, like it happens. All bodies have those movements. Sometimes I find myself eating certain kinds of food, sometimes I eat others, but this is just happenings, you see. I'm not making any issue of them, I just see how life happens. Sometimes doubt comes up, that's fine, they can be seen, and that's fine, this is part of the human experience. But we're recognizing that we are not this human being, who we are is that in which the human experience seems to appear. If we identify with the human experience, then we're going to end up with all the consequences, the suffering of that. But if you know who you are, then the human experience is just simply an appearance. It's not being denied. I'm not pretending that I don't exist and I'm saying here, oh, I don't exist, I'm not a body and I will not take care of it. No, I'll take care of the body the way anybody who wants to take care of the body would. I live the same life everybody does. Not the same life specifically. I mean, those who have family have a different dynamics, those who have, depends on whatever you're supposed to do. But on the core, I live the same life everybody does. The difference is whether you believe you're the character who's living that life, or if you know who you are but not identified with the content of the mind. That's the difference. These videos are about not identified with the content of the mind. It's not about how to live your life, because that is already predestined. That is already determined by that which is doing all this stuff. The beauty is that which is doing all this stuff, or seem to be doing all this stuff, because none of this ever happened, you see. So don't try to go with the mind, because the mind is not going to be able to make sense of any of this. But even if it seems that if it's happening, that which supposedly is in charge of all of this knows what it's doing with all these different parts of itself. See? I don't need to be concerned about what to do, what not to do. I'm just simply see how through this instrument life invites him to be open. And life is inviting you to be open, to simply be. See? And in that beingness you rest in the peace that passes all understanding, and that's what is meant to be happy. Not happy because I'm pursuing things or I have pleasure or I'm getting stuff. That's not happiness, that's temporary experiences. The happiness we're pointing to here is eternal. You are happy because you are, not because of what you have, not because of what you do, not because of what you're going to get. You're happy because you are. You're at peace because you are. We're pointing to that. That's it, right now. If you don't identify with any thoughts, don't identify with any thoughts. Just let them be. Just don't identify with them. What is left? What remains? What remains is happiness. What remains is peace. Not a temporary sense of tranquility. You can be in the middle of agitation experience and remain in that happiness, in that centeredness, while you seem to be very dynamic in the moment. You see, it's not about sitting in lotus position thinking that I am at peace or anything. No, this is not about that. That could be part of it, that's fine. This is about remaining in that lotus position always, not physically but consciously. You see, sometimes you're in heavy movement, a lot of dynamics, and sometimes you're tranquil. Well, you are in that lotus position in your heart. Not your heart like this, again, I don't know what to say. But you are in that lotus position, which is not physical. You see? It's just basically the image that we're using right now. It's a description, that's it. See, so you are. You're resting in peace while you seem to be alive. And that's how you live a happy life. Well, this is inspiration that came through this instrument. I hope it served, and as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can be extended.